Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Common Sense Crypto Channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on QNT. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about QNT. I'm going to start with this. Patience will be greatly rewarded. Oracle has been awarded a multi-billion-dollar contract from the U.S. Department of Defense to provide cloud services across all security domains and classification levels. Huge news for QNT. The purpose of this contract is to provide the Department of Defense with enterprise-wide globally available cloud services across all security domains and classification levels, from the strategic level to the tactical edge, the Department of Defense said. So now we're going to see QNT tied into government, tied into military as well. This is going to be big. We're just getting started. Major milestone for QNT, finally passing 100K unique holders. Considering the utility, partnerships, tokenomics this project has, it's still a massive sleeping giant in my opinion. And like I said, we're early yet. But to see 100,000 unique holders, how much QNT is still available out there? And how much is going to get bought up once Enterprise gets here? That's why a lot of people still believe there's going to be a shortage on QNT in the future. Get yours while you can. If you know, you know. So the UK Treasury, we will be consulting on a UK retail central bank digital currency alongside the Bank of England in the coming weeks. A decade on, Verdian moved into HM government and worked at HM Treasury as deputy CTO and CSO during the financial crisis. And I believe we're going to get some big news that QNT is going to be tied to the retail central bank digital currency over in the UK very soon. This is on the website from the Digital Pound Foundation. How can you be bearish on Ripple and Quant Network? And if you hold QNT, you definitely should also hold XRP. They're going to work side by side very soon in the new financial system. So if it's not ISO 222 compliant, it isn't worth hodling in 2023. Brutally honest with you. ISO 222 token system's going to be huge starting Q1 2023. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. By Quant advice. And that's the thing. I believe it's all going to start early next year. And we have a lot of big things that are about to happen. Even if Ripple wins the lawsuit against the SEC, once that happens, QNT is going to take off. The entire crypto space is going to take off. That can literally start off the next run in crypto. That's why you got to buy while you still can at these cheap prices. That new financial system is going to be huge. QNT is going to be the glue holding that entire system together. All the money will lead back to QNT somehow, some way, because all roads lead to QNT. QNT, 100% not financial advice, to each his own. Diversification may preserve wealth, but concentration builds wealth. And I tell you to diversify for a few different reasons. Number one, you should never put all of your money into one crypto. And if you do diversify, it gives you better options in the future. You might be able to borrow from one crypto and pay it back with interest off of another crypto. You might be able to borrow from one crypto and pay it off with interest you're earning on the same crypto also in the future. There's going to be so many options. We are still early. Fabio Pinetta, ECB official, says energy-intensive crypto should be banned. However, Quant Network will fare better, as we're actively involved with the digital euro. By QNT. The ECB's skepticism about crypto is nothing new. Two staffers last week said Bitcoin is on the road to irrelevance. Let me tell you something. Bitcoin maxis are out there in full force right now, fighting all over these ISO coins. There's a reason for that. They're afraid of them. QNT has a ton of utility. It's about to make a massive run up at some point, most likely leaving Bitcoin behind. That's why they're afraid. That's why Michael Saylor's out there trying to tell the SEC to get rid of all of crypto other than Bitcoin. The guy is a complete moron. He's leading so many people into bankruptcy, and he doesn't even have any remorse about it. How can you not see what the future holds? A financial system built off of utility cryptocurrencies versus a crypto that has no utility. Even when the governments are pointing it out and the big banks are pointing out that Bitcoin has no place in the future, you need to pay attention. CBDCs are coming soon. Nigeria has reduced the amount of cash individuals and businesses can withdraw as it attempts to push its cashless Nigeria policy and increase the use of the e-naira, Nigeria's central bank digital currency. So even if you don't want to use a CBDC in the future, they're going to force you into it. At some point, we're going to have a CBDC and fiat at the same time. But anybody still using fiat as an alternative to the CBDC will have limitations until they fully push for cashless society, because that's the end game. QNT is going to be at the heart of all of that. It's got, at that point, you won't be able to afford one whole QNT. Create value, reduce costs, mitigate risk. QNT. Capital markets, payments, digital currencies, insurance, supply chain, trade finance, compliance. And the thing is, enterprise hasn't got here yet. Institutional money hasn't got here yet. We're getting a look at the future. This is all getting built out little by little. We were lucky enough to get here early enough to get QNT at cheap prices. Just remember this in 1 year. And you see QNT at $5,000. Everybody lining up to buy it at $5K when they could buy it right now for under $150. Think about that. There's going to be people 2 years from now wishing they could go back in time to buy QNT cheap. The same way people always said it about Bitcoin in the past. I still have friends that say, if I could just go back until when Bitcoin was cheap, I would buy so much of it. But back then, when Bitcoin was cheap, nobody was looking at it. But they're looking at it now. The same is going to happen with QNT, except our time is now. We are still early. Buying quant right now is a privilege. The higher the demand, the less QNT people can buy. In the future, people will do anything to own one QNT. And so many people will be buying pieces of a QNT in the future, the same way they buy a piece of Bitcoin now, hoping to one day own one whole Bitcoin. The same will happen. History will repeat itself. The difference with QNT, though, is that it's backed by a ton of utility. Last cycle was all about DeFi Ponzi's, high APY scams, empty metaverses, rug as a service. Next cycle will be all about utility, enterprise adoption, real-world problem solving, regulatory compliance. Crypto isn't going anywhere, just got to mature. And that's the thing. A lot of people right now outside of crypto aren't even looking at crypto because of what happened with FTX. They're afraid to even get into crypto right now. They're all worried it's going to zero. Crypto is not going to zero. Some cryptos may. Others will push forward into the future, such as QNT, the utility-driven future that's ahead of us. But regulations are coming at the same time. A lot of cryptos will disappear. Meme coins will be gone. The future looks really good for ISO coins, as it's going to be running the entire financial system very soon. You need to buy while you still can. At some point, I do believe QNT will become scarce, and the price will be extremely high. I still see people saying 100K. I could tell you this, though. 10K for QNT in the future is going to happen. It's almost inevitable. And yet people still don't see the value in it. I do videos on these cryptocurrencies and I point out the things that are happening with these cryptos. If you hold it, I try to keep you optimistic. I wanted you to get rich off of your crypto in the future. I hold all the same cryptocurrencies that I talk about. So if I get rich, you get rich. You get rich, I get rich. That's what this is all about. Let's get rich together and continue staying patient, because I believe next year is when we'll finally reap the rewards for our patience. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.